Hello, welcome to our Daily Bible Weekly Report. I am very sorry for the late appearance for this video. I took a vacation and I just came back recently, so I am going to try to summarize. Try to summarize what went down or what happened in our readings between the 8th and the 15th. Now let's see. Going through Numbers, we're of course going through the Israelites traveling through the desert, and there are many times throughout Numbers as we go through the week where they directly rebel or speak poorly against God and are punished for it, such as with someone's rebellion. Was it Korah's rebellion? There's it. I believe that's the name. Korah's rebellion, which happened, and I think, was it maybe the 10th, day 10 or day 11 reading? Or March 10th or 11 reading? But anyway, yes, throughout Numbers, there are instances of doubt and betrayal, blasphemy, and disobedience toward God. And while going through Numbers, we also see through Numbers, of course, the Israelites even grow tired of what God has already done for his people. Like when the people get sick of manna over time. Oh, sorry. And throughout Numbers, God has destroyed many of his own people within the camp who spoke poorly against him. And Aaron was chosen when his staff budded. He was chosen as someone to sort of be the representative for God on earth. Someone who would speak, or someone who would be God's chosen one among the people of Israel. Chose that for Aaron. Let's see, going into in Mark, during this week we go through Mark, and we even finish it, I believe, during this week as well. Ooh, excuse me. Mark. Oh yeah. Of course, in Mark we are going through, during this week we went through the events leading to Jesus' betrayal and his crucifixion and his resurrection. And in Luke, we see the sort of beginning of Jesus' ministry. Like we see about the birth and conception of John the Baptist, and showing Jesus being placed upon Mary through the Holy Spirit, or the Holy Spirit gifted Mary with Jesus Christ. Placed Jesus within her womb. I should be very, very specific. Okay, so this of course shows that Jesus and John the Baptist were basically the same age, or very close. Jesus was placed within Mary on month 6 of John the Baptism's development within Elizabeth's womb. Now, interestingly enough, Elizabeth was the wife of Zachariah, and they both were extremely loyal, faithful, and devoted to the Lord. They dedicated their whole lives to serving Him, and it's amazing that that the duty was continued within their son John. The angel of the Lord, or the angel. Was it? Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me make sure I get this correct. So let's see. Going, I think, to the beginning. Oh yeah, Gabriel. That was it. Gabriel gave the message to Elizabeth that the Holy Spirit would have the their baby, or that they would be given a son, and they would call him John. They had him for 6 months. While Elizabeth was 6 months pregnant, Mary had Jesus placed within her. And of course, where we end in this week for Luke, we see that John the Baptist will soon be hearing more about his ministry, because at the very end of this week's reading in Luke, it says in Luke chapter 1 verse 80, it's amazing that the first chapter of Luke is this long, like that's this many verses, but yes. In Luke chapter 1 verse 80, it says, John, yeah, it was only one verse, okay. John grew up and became strong in spirit, and he lived in the wilderness until he began his public ministry to Israel. And that is the final verse of Luke of this week. So obviously in the next reading we're going to be seeing more. Or this is the last part of this week's reading in Luke that has to do with John the Baptist. We will be seeing more of him for next week, of course, and for future readings. And of course, going on through Psalm is much inspiration against the world and dealing with people who hate and even try to kill believers. And Proverbs, of course, is more good lessons about being a devoted follower of God and being someone who is basically being godly. And with that, because of godliness, aka because of God working within us, we put out good works, which in turn better help our lives. And those that are wicked will always stumble beneath the godly. The godly will always be a step up on the food chain compared to the wicked. Proverbs has been very inspirational lately, and so is Psalms, actually. I enjoy them both. They're very inspirational, and they're very true to life, and they're just as relevant back then as they are today. So I think there's a lot we can learn from those verses. Or from those readings within this week from Psalms and Proverbs. And of course, as we go through the week in the Old Testament, we go through, what's it called again? Oh no, we're still in Numbers. But recently, or by the end of this week, not like this week of this video being posted, but of the week of March 8th through March 15th, as we are where we are in the Old Testament, we see Israel just plowing through force after force, like opposing force after opposing force. And by the end, and by March 15, we see the Israelites. We see the king of Moab about to face off against the Israelites. He's hesitant to, of course, because he sees how powerful they are, and he sees what they've done to the Amorites, like basically completely destroy them. And he's, of course, afraid of what's going to happen, so he wants this man named Balaam, who speaks with God, to curse the people of Israel. But of course, God won't do it, because Israel is when facing off against this army, they were a very blessed group. Very blessed group of men. So God could in no way go against his promises made to his own people. And we'll see what happens in the future. I think I kind of already know where this goes, what this leads to. But we can see that God is not on the side of the Moabites. And God is obviously going to be right behind their backs as they march into Moabite territory. like further on into Moabite territory. Or actually, I think it mentions that they're at the border at this point. But as they clash with Balak's army, we'll see that God is the one who will be at Israel's back, not Balak's. And we obviously know with that who's going to have the upper hand and even win the day. Okay, so I think that's going to do it for our weekly report for this week from March 8th through March 15th. Please let me know, y'all, if I missed anything, or if y'all think there's any corrections I need to make on anything I've just mentioned here. And with that, I think that's going to be all. Thank y'all so much for watching, and thank y'all for your support, and we will see y'all next time. God bless.